Hello, this is Old Man Yells at Cloud for Blue Powder Monkeys Patreon. Working on some poster stuff. This is the evening session. I did a earlier day session earlier today. As you can see on the screen, nothing has changed since that previous video, so that would make sense because I just turned everything on. Okay, so when I left, I had messed around with the color of the logo in anticipation of making it better. No, and then I need to put all the names and stuff on here. So I'm kind of debating this QR code. Not sure how effective it's going to be on a poster, because I'm not really sure the poster use. Like if it's just a poster hanging up at a table or something like that. What's going on here? Thank you. Then I'm not really sure. I just don't know how much. I don't know how effective this stuff is. All right. Anyway, I'm already naughty again. As soon as I turn this thing on, I'm like. Rrr. Kind of like splitting all the things. Makes that look like an E. That looks fine. Yeah, this might have to be smaller. I think Todd's is probably about right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7. McDonald is, yeah. I'm going to try to get them all about the same size. That looks like McDonald is the smallest. There are 2 here. Oh. Never mind. Okay. Looks like Aaron is it. So, let's do this. like on. Okay. There we go. don't trust it if it doesn't move. There we go. Oh, she's the only one that doesn't have a D in her name, right? What's up with that? What about Betsy? Oh, Betsy doesn't either. Daw does, though. Alright, so she has got a bunch of random thingamajiggies. Is there an I somewhere? Yes, okay. And is the I the same height as the L and the D? It does seem to be. So we can use the I. Don't worry about any of that stuff for now. Okay, so next question is whether we make all these colors, all these crazy colors that I have up here. Like, how does this read? Sean's is almost Sheehan, Sean, Shannon. Shannon? I'm gonna have to ask her, or ask someone anyway. All right. The other thing is, do I want part of it in here? I kind of do if possible, because it's space saving. His kind of messes that up, though. Except it balances the ups and downs of things. So let's do that. In which case, I leave them white. I think that's what happens. Oh, that's right. This is the soundtrack. I'm just continuing on with the one I was listening to this morning. It's the one that has Logan's Run, which I haven't heard in a while. Logan's Run was the first movie I got to see by myself. My mom took me to it. She didn't want to see it. Dropped me off at the theater, came back and got me later. I think it was like 9 or 10 or something. So it holds a little bit of a special place in my heart for that. It probably would have, no, it wasn't. I was going to say it might have been where I discovered Jerry Goldsmith, but that is not true. As when I was a little kid, at some point, or maybe even on TV. I mean, on TV I would have seen, like, I think he did Patton. I definitely would have seen, like, Planet of the Apes probably by then. But the Blue Max was a movie that was scored by him that I remember the soundtrack, even as a kid, being super dope. I might have seen like The Lion in Winter or something, but I don't remember that at all. Might have seen The Omen on TV. But yeah, Logan's Run definitely was one of my favorite of his stuff. Although it was also it's one of those interesting ones that he tended to do weird songs in the middle stuff. Like The Omen has, I think, was it The Omen? I think The Omen has like a weird song in it. I can't remember. But Logan's Run has and this was purposeful, I believe, from the director, has kind of electronica sound when they're in the city, and then when they're outside the city, it's all like orchestrated. Orchestral. So right now, the beginning part of the soundtrack will be a lot of synth and other kind of crazy 70s shit. Let's just do that for now. I really don't want to put any text on this. You're going to make me put text on it, though, aren't you? Okay, well, let's get to that. Do that. I can't remember. This one is called Lockwood Promo. Okay. Oh, excuse me. I don't want to save as. I can just do straight save. Let me grab the artwork first, though. I was telling you it was this old retro artwork that walks that beautiful line between being dated and retro. Somebody sent me a nice copy of it. Was it this one? Oh, hiccups. There's this. Castle Space. Okay. Oh, it's PNG too. Nice. Ugh. All right. Image search. Let's see if we can find who did it. I have a first name. Is acrylic painting on illustrated board. I don't think that's what this is. So there's the painting.
Ray Vantiberg. Vantilberg, okay. Okay. Whoops, what did I do here? Oh, I guess I should be conversing about things. So right now, I have discovered... There's my YouTube template I should be using. I've discovered that this guy... And then I closed the thing like a dummy. The guy that did this piece of art is Ray Vantilberg. Ray Vantilberg. All right, cool. And the biggest version that they can supply me right now, as you see on the screen here, is a PNG, which first of all is a web formatted file. So that's not usually great for printing. It all has to do with like the way the colors are compressed and whatnot. But as you can see up here, to get it kind of up to poster size, and this isn't even, this is probably about what I would do it at. It's 126 DPI, which is half, less than half. You basically want it to be 300, not to start getting all pixely. And I have a feeling he sells prints of this. think I mean I recognize Off-World Design on as putting like ads in our program and stuff too. So I don't see this specific piece though. Let's see here. This is all Etsy what feature items. Oh, is there only 8? Is this British Etsy? Or is he British? Who's to say? It's an older piece, according to a Reddit thread I found. So maybe he doesn't really sell it anymore or whatever. Regardless, I'm going to email and see if I can either contact him or have them contact him and get us a bigger file. Because if we're going to print something, we should make it look the best we can. And this will not look the best we can. Let's see. Somebody else sent some prices, but it's a thread with different people on it, so I'm going to assume that's meant for someone else, because this cat doesn't fucking deal with pricing and ordering stuff. Alright, so now I gotta go find the other goddamn... There we go. Okay, poster 1. That's technically this one. Let's go. Save. Let's go. Cancel. Let's go save. 260803, because we're not past midnight. Retro promo. Actually, the other one's more retro promo in a way. So let's just call this Sci-Fi City, even though it is a science fiction fantasy city. This could be updated, or not updated, that's the wrong word. If I was to recommission this, I like the flip flop of it, or I like I get the whole like heads and tails kind of version thing of it. But I think it would be interesting to have kind of like a science fiction platform, you know, space station-y type thing, maybe antennas coming down, sort of doing this in space, but have the city built upon it be like completely medieval. I think that would be cool. Anyway, website, QR, traditional, art show. So this one just has some words. Clusters, designs of words. Okay. So this one wants the QR code. They want the traditional Norwescon, or quote unquote traditional, the Norwescon logo, which I'm on the record of being not a fan at all.
but for a couple different reasons. I don't think it's a very good logo. I don't think it conveys what it should be conveying. I think that it is dated and not rendered very well. That said, the file's hard to work with too. The file's fairly old, so it's kind of a pain to kind of do stuff with it. Anyway, that said, I've messed with it a little bit. Not messed with it as in changed it. I've messed with the file a little bit, and I'm gonna give them a version with that on it because that's what they asked for. And I don't mind initially. I don't mind. I'm trying to quantify this, but it doesn't need to be. I don't mind giving them what they want, and I have enough time to do two versions. So one with we're calling this the 49 logo because we're using it for 49. So yeah, I don't mind giving them a version of the 49 logo as well. So in case, that they decide that they want them to kind of tie together a little more visually, I guess. To be fair to the counter argument, this piece of art is probably from about the same era as the logo, so it's not going to look as I guess I can't think of a better word than jarring, even though that sounds really negative. The normal, the quote unquote traditional logo kind of doesn't mesh with the modern design sense that I use anyway, as well as it could or I like, where this piece of art, which I like, does have some of those same things that they basically I think will look fine together. I don't think it's going to be like jarring the same way it would be with other stuff. I think they're picturing something that's all just like crazy fucking word salad everywhere. There we go. But they I'm not that guy. Anyway, so let me see if I have an easy version of that logo, or whether or not I am going to need to rebuild it from some old shit. Some old ass fucking stuff. Alright, plus, what would it even be under? Conad. I think the old logos served the convention for, it did serve the convention for many years. And idea-wise, it's okay. The idea, it's kind of what you want out of a logo. This is basically kind of it. And I actually have cleaned up this version a little bit. I may have even... Did I change the font? Oh, yeah, I did. Okay. So this is kind of more... so I'll give you kind of an example here. And this is... I always preface these things by making very sure that you don't think I'm like shitting on whoever did this original logo or whatever. Because I'm not. It's just design aesthetics change, and that's the way things go. But logos... Modern logos are kind of concise, right? You want to look at it and kind of know what it is. This isn't necessarily, it's people may think that it's sort of like, educating a first time. You kind of have to separate. It's like, is there
is it a first-time viewer or someone that goes to convention all the time? Right? And somebody that goes to convention all the time, they just kind of want to see that they don't really care as much what it is as long as it looks cool and it's the same thing year to year or close enough, right? That they feel that you want that sense of like comfort, nostalgia, and all the rest of that. As a new logo, it's got to capture somebody's attention. It's oh, what's that thing? I want to check this out, kind of thing. And some of the things with this is, for example, you can see even here just an easy example of the difference between the readability of this one versus this one in regard to the spaceship, right? And that's because I went in and I like bumped up this outline because this is almost invisible. And then the purpose that this is trying to convey is a lot. They want Norwescon. Different people have different ideas about what the convention is about, which is the point. The convention is an all-encompassing, welcome environment for all souls. And it's also a science fiction convention, and it's also a fantasy convention, and it's also a writer convention. And in a perfect world, you'd be able to distill that down into kind of like what the primary essence of the thing is. McDonald's sells hamburgers, that type of thing, right? But I feel like a logo that incorporates, first of all, the sort of simplicity of like, it's a science fiction convention and a fantasy convention. It's like the surface level, It's like, what is the convention at its heart? Or what is a thing, or what is an energy, right? Like the Nike logo, for example, which this might have been poached from a little bit. It's a shape that conveys speed and running and all the things that Nike does. But you also have to look at it as like, did it do that right off the bat? Or did Nike, like everybody knows, it's the most recognizable logo in the world, right? But that's because you have been educated to know what the Nike logo is. If you were to show the Nike logo to someone who'd never seen it without the word Nike on it and say, what is this a logo for? And have no fucking idea. They would think it was cool, potentially, right? And compelling, but they're not going to be like, oh, that's clearly for fucking shoes, or it conveys a sense, it does convey a sense of speed actually, which is why it's a fucking brilliant logo. Forward motion, that kind of thing, right? And that's a bar that no other logo can achieve. This Nike logo, so even though I'm using it as an analogy or whatever, or as an example, this logo is trying to convey fantasy with this dragon, and then science fiction with this, rocket ship. But then we're going to double down and have kind of a gear here and a planet here. But then we're going to double down again and put some stars up here, and it's like, even if you're just going to stick with this fantasy and the science fiction element of a logo, you really only need one example of each if you've done it correctly, right? And I'm not saying this is a better or perfect logo whatsoever. This is just kind of what I came up with on the fly. And it's a simple word thing. It's fine, but it's the start of something where it's like, oh, I've got these little Jupiter stripes here. That potentially could become something of the science, maybe not science fiction, but definitely the science of planetary thing. I could very easily put little cogs on, and then it becomes, a wooden cog of some kind or whatever. And that would be it. Like, you don't need a dragon. You don't need a rocket ship. I guess I'll just say it, right? Like, this is actually okay, and this can go, and this can go. And honestly, the stars, I might keep the stars and spread them out. Like, I might put a star somewhere here and then maybe here kind of by the planet, but then just put one down kind of over here to tie the things together, because in fantasy worlds you're going to look up and see the stars in the sky, right? So it's not exclusive to science fiction. Stars aren't. Wishing upon a star is a big fantasy element and that kind of thing, right? And then for me, this type of serif font is a little blocky, and that's just for my taste, right? It's just a little blunt. Everything's kind of
there. Modern time, modern design, sans serifs are definitely business-like. Even the ones that are sort of more sharply pointed and all the rest of that. And sans serifs are considered kind of more casual and more playful, which is why I tend to use sans serif stuff for Norwescon. Interestingly, though, spoiler alert or minor preview alert, the artist guest of honor, Todd Lockwood, he had me design his book because I had designed the program the first time he was the artist guest of honor back in Norwescon 30 or 31 or something. And that was designed with a serif font. And his style, I have to say, kind of looks more serif-y, which is totally made up in my head. But his work is kind of classical stuff. Like you could see it in an illuminated text of a thing or whatever it is, right? And so we did his book in a serifed text to make it look more quote-unquote professional. And this program this year more than likely will be using serif text. And I might have talked about this briefly, but I may design some illuminated letters basically to kind of go in it. I'll get around to that. Anyway, but in general, I feel like a logo that's just you want to have several layers, and I think I've gone over this. I might have gone over this in another video, and I did a document on it at some point to kind of talk to the executive team at Norwescon. This would be considered just like the full-on, full-blown logo that, because the other thing with this is you see the word, and all the rest of that is just, you can still see the word, right? But the rest of it just gets more and more incomprehensible. And then the proportions get kind of similar. Like this rocket ship takes up about the same amount of space, and that's not good. You want like a hierarchy of like, what do I look at, and then what do I look at next? This is so dark that you have basically told whoever is viewing this that it is a convention about dragons. And oh, by the way, there's a rocket ship for some reason. Oh, is he leaving from a planet? These things need to carry equal weight if that's the message that you intend, basically. But there's a lot going on here. So you could design a logo like this that you could stick on very large surfaces, giant banners, that type of thing. This would not be a logo in a perfect world that you would be using on books, even, much less like letterhead and that kind of stuff. In that world, you want a word mark, Norwescon, done in a way that makes it look kind of cool. Wendy's, you know, I keep going to fast food burgers. Anyway, you want just kind of a word mark sort of thing. And then you also want a very simplified, like, NWC, right? And you take that and you make a cool little, like, shieldy, arrowy thing. And then that you get to throw on smaller stuff, like badges and whatnot. I can't remember. I'm not going to dig it up right now. I did the badges for last year, and I think I did use a very simplified kind of like NWC on the badge, I want to say, and I'm pretty sure we kind of used them for some of the guidebook stuff as well. So, and that's what you want to do with that. And then in even a perfect world, you maybe just want to have a one little thing. Like if, I don't think it exists because I think it's, this example is too complicated, but if you wanted to have a combination of the planet O and the gear O, that would actually be the thing that you're looking for, but sort of better conceptually, I guess. So let's, right. So you'd, oh, that is a giant ass fucking thing here. Am I going to oil paint this too? It's going to be awesome. All right. So yeah, so you could have like, whoops, let's go. Yeah. Nope. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. And then let's, since we're having fun right now, are we having fun? I assume we're having fun. All right, let's get the markers. These markers are cool. Just choose square marker. Yeah, let's just do brush marker here. Yeah, this works out fine.
right? So basically you'd have like this, and then you'd have your fucking orbit, right? And then I don't know, maybe the planet is a gear as well. Maybe it's a gear with a ring, right? If you put the gear on the inside, then it kind of looks like a giant butthole or something. No, I don't know. It looks kind of weird that way, right? Or although the detail would be hard to sell, depending, it's a ringed planet, but it's made of wood, like paneling. It could even actually, in that case, maybe not have the ring. It could just be a literal planet, like Jupiter, with wood paneling, and then one of the knots could be like the red spot, right? That would be kind of cool. And then you'd have to figure out a way to kind of make it not read like it's a 3D asset, like a material asset, because that's how those things look, but that's a whole different world. Anyway, that's the kind of thing that you want. But again, this is going on what I feel, and this, it's a little strong worded. I feel like it's a flawed premise. I feel like making the convention distilled down to a science fiction fantasy convention is maybe not digging deep enough. And maybe I'm leaning towards liking something a little more like abstract, that just represents open world or open whatever they want to do. I was under the impression that it was primarily a writers convention, but someone tried to correct me on that. Like I thought it started as a writers convention, right? So, but there's none of that reflected in this logo, and maybe it isn't. But if it's supposed to be, if that's what the core of it is, then let's take a look at that, right? Let's take a look. I would be more comfortable, so the idea of showing both the fantasy and the science fiction element, and you just go planet gear, right? I'd be okay with like some sort of high tech pen that was like ended in a feather, just a straight up quill, right? And then it's either writing. I don't think it'd be writing the word Norwescon. Maybe it would be, but anyway, just so you could still take that sort of like science fiction fantasy dichotomy, whatever, and but then tailor it towards like, what do you want this convention to actually be about deep down, or you want a feeling. What feeling does it sort of evoke, right? And then if you're going to do it, like this silhouette again is so strong compared to this, and these are all sort of asymmetrical and just sort of hand drawn, and that's okay, but it makes it look sort of hand drawn, but it doesn't look entirely hand drawn because they're kind of using a font, right? If you're gonna, it doesn't. Some of it doesn't look intentional, and I always talk about intentionality. It looked intentional in the respect that they wanted to make spikes on the dragon, but I don't know how much thought was made into just drawing the things as far as balance, right? And my eye, because I'm used to seeing like negative space stuff, like the thickness of this line is very not smooth, and the thing is, but that's getting into like rendering details, which isn't fair or important to the thing. So anyway, that's my little logo rant, which I do logo rants on occasion, obviously, very obviously. So I think I can get away like I'm getting away with something. I think they're going to be okay with me giving them a version that has this modified ship on it, because they're just kind of looking for that old school feel, right? Or that old school. There's some people that very much like the old logo, and they like it. Well, I'm not going to say why they like it, because it's their own fucking business why they like it. I have no idea why they like it, right? But there's a certain nostalgic element to things that people sometimes can't. Yeah, that was me messing around. That people sometimes, I do it as well. You get locked into a thing that you like, and you just have a feeling for it, and you don't care whether or not it's well rendered or gets the point across or whatever. You just don't give a fuck. You just like the thing, right? And that's fine. That's valid. What did I do? A background thing here? It makes it challenging should you want to change a thing, right? But we're also all fucking grown-ups, and despite the general feeling of, quote, the internets nowadays, we do in person still listen to reason and hear arguments about things and are willing to sort of either convey opinions in respectful ways or change minds if whatever. Anyway, all right, so that is fine to me for now. All right, damn it. There's an old version of the. Okay. So interestingly, the old version, or the example they showed me, just had the word this part of Norwescon. So that's interesting. They didn't really. So I've just done this entire like half an hour takedown of this logo, and when they talked about the traditional logo, they just were talking about the word mark. So never mind. No. But weirdly, and I never thought that I would advocate for this, I'm going to try the whole thing. Because I think this is busy in just all the most perfect ways something could be busy. Oh, that's right. But it's also really tiny. I do like how the elements are flipped. That is pretty funny. All right, so let's do this for now. I'm just throwing stuff on the plate right now. We're not... And what am I missing here? Rectangle, that's that. Pixel. What was I doing with the pixels? Just, all right. Au revoir, pixels. Okay. So now what we're going to do is swatches. This is supposed to be, oh no, I created, okay, cool. Oh, damn it. Can't undo swatches, I guess. There we go. Oh, nope. What am I doing? Add document palette. Thank you. God. I don't think I spelled palette right. Oh well. All right. So there's a couple ways you can do palettes in this. I shouldn't have created this before. Well, I'll just kind of show you. You can create palette from image, right, or from document, whatever. Either one. Did I spell palette right? No, I did. Nice. Okay. Select image. Oh, there we go. All right, and then I could just turn this up. Oh, that's too many. Let's calm down here. Right, so done and done, whatever. I would probably do 9. Right, so that's how you would create it from that, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do is choose, pick and choose. I don't know why people don't do this. I hardly ever see this. Well, I should say I I work around a lot of either hobbyist, I was going to say amateur, but that makes it sound a little worse than it is. People who do this as a hobby, or um, maybe had done it back in the day, um, but didn't sort of modernize training or whatever it is, or just have different. I mean, they just have different senses or whatever. Or honestly, with these conventions, a lot of times it's someone that just has volunteered to do a different job, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, I got to do this other fucking thing too," which isn't fair to them, right? Because the convention or the organization, I mean, because businesses do this as well. They a lot of times just don't invest in dedicated design. It's not a thing that they can afford for whatever reason. Anyway, my point of all this is you get a lot of things with just black text, and you get a lot of elements that are just the easiest way to try to get a point across, because that's not their job. Like, they don't have the necessary training or experience to kind of like formally design. I always equate it, to use this analogy a million times, it's everybody that has a copy of Word could, I mean, everybody that has a pencil could sit down and write a book, right? But for whatever reason, when Word came out, and then when Amazon kind of doubled down, that's not very good. When Amazon kind of doubled down on the whole self-publishing thing, or companies did in general, everybody's like, "Oh, I can self-publish. I can be an author," and it's like, yeah, you can actually. And to be perfectly honest, I think art should be available to all. Like, in my world, somewhere there is a perfect scenario. Well, that's just a darker lavender. It's too dark. It's actually not too dark. I need a couple of dark colors. So I think I'm going to do one more like dark red. In my perfect world, there'd be like a form of AI or something, I don't know, related to AI or whatever, where people really could just like make their dreams come true kind of thing as far as creativity is concerned. Because it's kind of like, oh, well, you think and therefore you are. You have this cool idea in your head for this ultimate novel or whatever, or comic, or whatever it is. Huh. All right. I guess I'll shrink you back up. Then will you move around for me? You will not. Are you broke? Okay, let's do that. And, comics especially, or illustration, or movie for that matter, but you don't have the resources, right? You don't have the ability. Drawing's a little different because anyone could theoretically sort of pick something up and draw, or write for that matter. But anyway, so you may not have like the tools to do the thing that you want to do. I was going to do red. What am I doing here? And I think everyone should have the tools that they can do the thing they want to do. I think everyone should have the tools to be able to do the thing that they think they want to do. Like, you should have some form of generative, creative something. Maybe it's not AI. I don't know why this thing is bugging out. All right, let's just do this. Oops, no, I don't want to do that actually. I want to do this. But yeah, you should be able to just be like, hey, I want to do I want to do a movie. And you just have the ability to talk into a thing and do a movie or whatever. Like, that would be awesome. Again, I've gone off many times probably on the AI, or it's not really AI, it's what do they call it, generative something. there's a lot of very serious sort of ethical stuff around it, and most of that's been sort of let out of the back, or let out of the, God, that took forever. Let out of the, the toothpaste out of the tube kind of thing. And that sucks, because there's a lot of people that have had their work stolen to train these things. But ultimately, I do think that we should use technology to try to make creativity as easy as possible. The tool, here we go. The tool should not be the hindrance in someone making a cool thing. The hindrance should be in the breadth, width of their imagination, and the energy that they put into research and study, because you can just sit down and draw whatever's out of your imagination. That's fine, but being able to study, being able to the things that truly stand out are things that are unique to that person based on their life experiences or based on the research they did or whatever it is. And that should be the difference maker, not how well they can literally paint a thing, like the actual act of rendering the thing or whatever. Should I do that? I don't know where I'm going to put this, though, is the problem. I thought this was going to work, but maybe it won't work. That happened with the other one too. I was like, wait, this idea I have is going to be super awesome, and then it wasn't. Oh, let's, for fun. I don't think this is going to work at all. We're going to do the same thing because we're going to tie them together visually right now. Is that really... Did I use the fiber ones? The classic dense oil? Did I use one of these other weird fibery ones? Can't remember now. I only did it this morning. That's funny. I know I didn't use the grunge, any of the short dab stuff or any of that. I think it was just, yeah, I swear it was just the... Yeah, it was. Okay, cool. Let's see, there are 3, 6, 9, 10. This is 24, so that's 2.4. So this is 2.5, basically. That's about right, actually. In here somewhere. Okay, so let's try this. Oh, but it doesn't go clear out to the edges, so let's go maybe 2 bumps more. Oh, he also did The Secret of Nam. That's right. Which I really liked, that movie. Oh, that is not nearly as crazy as I thought it was going to be. Meaning in a good way. Like, I thought this wasn't going to work at all. And that's actually not bad. Oh man, I wish the background on this thing was transparent. Oh, it is transparent. So why? Oh, I have to select. That's right. Where is my magic wand tool? Does such a thing exist? Selection brush. Okay. All right. It's weird that I hadn't used any of these selection tools until this project. Flood select tool. Okay. Is flood select tool. I guess the fucking magic wand is copyrighted or some shit. Oh, there's a rectangular marquee. That's good to know. Adjustment. Where's this magical flood? What does it say the shortcut is? W. Oh, there it is. Here. Here. Oh, it's the same. Nice. Okay, cool. No, I want erase. This is erase. Alright, then I want paint. Weird, but okay. Oh, did I invert it? I don't think I inverted it. Okay, so now stroke selection. Is that what I want to do? Let's see here. Pixel. New pattern. Pixel selection. All right, let's look this up. Oh my gosh, they may not have it. Or it's some sort of weird workaround thing. No, there's no select option. Pixel, is there a select thing in here somewhere? Nope. Document. Layer, select. Okay, well that's not going to work. Wow, what a freaking misstep. Adjustment brush. Okay. Filter brush. Huh. That is goddamn dumb. Alright, so let's try this. And then let's do this. Let's turn off that. Fill anyone? It's not just a bucket tool somewhere. Sometimes I generally I go through this almost every night. I go through this, generally like the Affinity stuff, but it's just stupid shit sometimes. They just had to change up for whatever reason. See, why is it drawing on the rest of this fucking thing when I have it stroked to do that? I have it inverted even. It's dumb. I didn't need to do that. I just need the outside here. Okay. I actually got a lot of detail. It's not going to scale the way it should, though. Yeah, it was worth a try. Oh, wait. Where's select? Expand. So many things. This is, I'm finally running into stuff that's really bugging me. Oh, okay. Pixel selection. Oh, yeah, right there. Aha. Nice. Boom. And then let's go to quick. I want to erase then now. Interesting. Cool. And I don't know why. I know they have like a paintbrush, or sorry, a fill, like a bucket tool. I don't know why I don't have the bucket tool. Oh well. Don't go up there. Oh, I'm whistling, which is never good onto a microphone.
All right, well, I thought that that might look okay with this, but again, to sort of a point. Oh, what do we got going here on the music wise? It takes up too much space. It's very hard to work around. It has very awkward sort of like compositional angles or something. I don't know if that's the right word for things. Sounds familiar. Oh, it's Sorcerer. Yeah, because I've heard it 10,000 times. Okay. Looks like I redid the stars as well. I get everything? Okay, cool. All right, so let's do this. Let's actually, because we're not coming back to that version of that thing. So let's get rid of this rectangle. Let's lock this down. Let's lock this down. Got a weird little beep. Time we got 11:20. Okay. All right. So the other word mark is that long. Is that long? Okay, so turn that. Should it just be white? Probably should just be white, or that very slightly. No. Oh, it's been a while. So I'd save that thing. All right, so now we have this whole list of stuff. All right, I'm gonna have to do each one of these separately. sure why you need. Well, I do actually. Never mind. I was about to fucking put forth my ignorance. Why you needed costumes and cosplay. Which is dumb. Of course you need both. For while they overlap. They are not the same. They're different enough, I guess. Oh, and that was dumb of me. Oh well, actually. All right, what was last? Cosplay? Yes. And now we are circling back. To what is Norwescon? Is it all these things? It is. All these things and more. How could you possibly make a logo that encompasses all these things? And the answer is that you can't. And honestly, who is this for? Are we trying to educate someone who has never been to a convention? Because just having a list of stuff probably isn't going to do it. Oh, they want science and science fiction. That's awesome. Also makes sense, but not the best thing here. If you're trying to capture yeah, so there's who is it for? Is it for someone who's never gone to a convention? Because this really isn't that message. Is it for someone who has gone to conventions, in which case they're going to kind of assume all this stuff, honestly? Is it for someone that hasn't gone to this specific convention? Then what does this convention have that others don't? The answer, I think, is the Philip K. Dick Awards. Okay. All right, we're going to save this for now. because I have an idea. Okay. We're going to shut this down. Okay, we are going to shut that down. Are we? Uh-oh. That didn't work out. Let's try that.
I forgot how to move these downward. Oh. Maybe the thing is different. Oh no, is it bracket? Yeah, it's bracket.
That was a while.
All right, I think that is enough for tonight. That took a weird turn, but I like it. I'll go back and work on the more traditional ones tomorrow, and I'll just end up giving them a bunch of options for stuff. I have a couple more questions I want to ask now too. So, all right, thanks for tuning in.